Hey everyone, it's Xant. Now, I'm just going to get to the point with this video because it's really late and I want to sleep, but I also want to express the hype I have over the new content that just got announced for Gunpla Warfare. Earlier today, we were given an in-game notification and a tweet that a new event is coming down the line. As with the G Gundam event, this one will bring 2 new mobile suits and 2 new pilots, as well as a new welfare machine to farm. This content is being added on the 13th at 8 PM PDT, just like everything else. As you can see here, the 2 new pilots being added are Ku Araki, a 4-star pilot from Stardust Memory, and coming with him is Cicely Fairchild, a 3-star pilot from Gundam F91, and its sequel, Crossbone. I apologize for any terrible pronunciations that I have during this. Personally, I have not seen either of those series, so I have no idea how their names are pronounced. Apologies. And we don't have any specifics beyond the names, the pictures, and the rarities yet. So, yeah. I'll talk more about the specifics when they release. Same goes for the new mobile suits. On that note, to be on the level with everyone, I got into Mecha primarily due to Gundam Seed and the sequel, Destiny. Okay, well, I watched the sequel many years later because I never knew it existed, but I did religiously watch Gundam Seed as it aired on my local channel. Okay, I recorded it on VHS since it aired really late, and then I used the next evening to give it a watch. Anyways, as to why I'm bringing that up. This event's gacha has brought the Aile Strike Gundam, effectively one of the poster suits for Gundam Seed. Now, you can probably imagine how happy I am to actually see it up front and center so soon into the game. However, I'll probably just skip this gacha altogether because I want to save for the suits I really want to use. Things like Amatsumina, Strike Freedom because funnels are wicked. Heck, I'd even go for something like the Destiny because Wings of Light are pretty flashy. There's a couple other ones as well, but I'm just going to pass on this because I don't really need the parts. The appeal of the Strike Gundam is in the modularity of its design. So, the Strike in its base form has 2 head-mounted turrets, 2 anti-armor knives, a beam shield, and a beam rifle. The Aile Strike adds large thrusters to the back, which also brings along 2 beam sabers to the existing arsenal, and also extra maneuverability due to the massive thrusters added on. It has other forms as well, which, if they show up, I'll make sure to briefly talk about. This is just to give you an idea of what kind of arsenal to expect from the parts. Got your CIWS turrets like other machines have, you have the beam rifle, possibly a melee attack with the knives, things like that. The other machine that's being put on right up is the Gundam X Divider. This machine showed up in After War Gundam X, and not surprisingly, it's a modified Gundam X. Unfortunately, I'm not well versed in the specifics for this machine, so I'm just going to refer to the fandom wiki for it. Its arsenal consists of customized warship missiles mounted to a weapon rack on its waist, a hyper bazooka, Vulcan turrets on the chest, a beam machine gun, and a large beam sword. It also has a shield that doubles as a ranged weapon, packing multiple triple beam cannons into it. It can also be attached to the back of the Gundam to enable hovering. So with that in mind, you can probably come to an understanding of what kind of EX skills and part traits this machine might have. So with our 2 new gacha machines discussed and lightly gone over, let's talk about the welfare machine on the banner. It's also from Gundam Seed, the Blitz Gundam. It's one of the more unique machines from the Seed series, being one of the few mobile suits to use what's called Mirage Colloid. To skip the lengthy explanation and to water it down, it's magic gas that makes the user invisible. The Blitz makes extensive use of this feature to turn invisible and perform sneak attack operations, hence the suit's name. And I bet the writers thought they were quite clever back in 2002. So let's talk about what the Blitz has. It comes with a very special set of armaments, the Gleipnir, pardon my butchering pronunciation, and the Trikeros. Now, Gleipnir is a grappling claw mounted onto its hand, which can be used to either pierce or grab. It's rocket-propelled and is attached by a wire, so it can be brought back in after firing. Trikeros is the main weapon system of the Blitz, as well as its shield. It's called Trikeros because it has 3 weapons built into it. Again, I bet the writers felt real clever. Trikeros has an integrated beam rifle and a beam saber, and it also has rocket-propelled Lancer darts, as they're called, mounted onto it. These darts are used to penetrate armor, and they detonate after impact. And they can also be used as spears. At one point during the series, Blitz actually used one as a makeshift. So with that in mind, again, you can probably kind of get a picture of what kind of EX skills and abilities the machine is going to have if you manage to get all the parts for it. The big one though that I'm looking forward to is Mirage Colloid. So I'm going to ask for your ear for a few minutes here. I know you're probably thinking, I'm already listening, but I'm about to geek out a bit about the Blitz and why I'm excited as all hell for it to be added due to the possibilities. So bear with me on this. Or skip to the timestamp in the description if you don't care about a man and his dreams. So the first Gundam combat game I played was Battle Assault for the Game Boy Advance. The Blitz was available in this game, and it had the Mirage Colloid ability. Using it during a fight would render you mostly transparent. The thing is, because that game was a locked perspective fighting game, you would mainly use it to hide your frames so the enemy didn't know what you were doing unless they were staring really damn hard at the screen. However, it was useless against the AI, so no one's surprised. The next time I encountered it was in Alliance vs SAF 2 Plus. This game was a fully 3D, 360 degree fighter with many more options for movement. Mirage Colloid, when used in this game, would again render you invisible. Well, mostly. Now, the engine used in that game employed something easiest to describe as sticky projectiles. When your reticle changed from green to red, it meant that you were locked on and the enemy was in range. When you fired a shot while you were locked on, the game would effectively generate an unseen zone in front of you. As your beam or other projectile flew towards your target and they were in this unseen zone, the bullet would stick to them and unrealistically change course to keep flying at them. Once the target had left this unseen zone that was generated at the time of firing, the bullet would just start flying straight and more or less become harmless. Mirage Colloid removed the lock-on, so even though you could still see them, roughly you could only really see an outline, and you could still open fire at them, you had no system assist. You were still able to melee, but because you couldn't see what the enemy was doing, they were just a vague outline at that point, it was really dangerous. Especially considering the Blitz was armed with those darts I talked about earlier, which in that game would stun and do serious damage. So why am I geeking out about Mirage Colloid? Well, it's more or less the opportunities that are presented by Mirage Colloid, and also how the developers decide to implement it, if at all. If it is implemented, like it was in the prior 3D installations, first, it means that there's now a way to safely sit at range and kite without worrying about ranged response, since projectiles wouldn't really be able to seek you out with a vengeance anymore, blind fire. Second, it gives melee fighters a response to ranged spammers, as the opponent would then have to rely on melee themselves or get close for point-blank rifle shots. Third, it can be used as a mix-up in PvP, of course depending on how the AI are set to react. The concern is they don't implement it at all, or they set the AI to ignore Mirage Colloid, meaning while it's devastating when an AI uses it, it's useless when a player does. In a nutshell, I really like unique machine mechanics. One of my other favorites is the Destroy Gundam from Alliance vs SAF 2 Plus, which had two forms to it. The first was a humanoid, which was focused on spamming the massive array of lasers on its chest and built into the hands. But the second was a bipedal tank-like form that generated a massive anti-beam shield around it that nullified ranged attacks. It was gimmicky as hell, and really annoying to deal with if a player was using it, because it could be very hard to actually handle. But unique mechanics like that always get my interest. The ones that could transform mid-flight to planes or mobile armor forms were also really cool. So now it's time to move on to the last part of the announcement, which was the banner of the event itself. As you can see, the Blitz Gundam is shown right up front, but there's also the same multiplier notification in the corner. This time, however, there's 3 machines. If you don't recognize the one on the furthest left with the 2X, that's the Rising Gundam, the one that's in the G Gundam event shop right now. A few videos ago, I had stated my concern that events going forward would force you to roll the gacha to farm currency. At least with this, there's some slight alleviation to those concerns. Using a prior event's welfare, in other words the freebie you don't have to gacha for, actually has the ability to net you bonus coins. At least with this, some pressure is taken off rolling the gacha. Could it be higher? Probably. 3x would most likely be more fair, but I'll take 2x over 0. The other 2 machines that are getting a boost are the Aile Strike and the Gundam X Divider, at 5x and 7x respectively, of course the 2 new gacha machines. I'm going to assume, just like the current event, you just need a single part for the effect, and it'll take the highest multiplier only. Alright, so with that, I've gone over all the newly announced details we got, and I'll make sure to put up a video after the event goes live talking about the new stuff that was added and go into more specifics with them. Gotta say, giving us only a couple of days to prepare is really harsh on my mellow. At the same time though, it seems they do have a roadmap for releases planned out, which is a great sign for the game. So before I wrap up, I do just want to say, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment if you want to talk or ask a question or things like that, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, all that fun stuff. It helps me out, helps the channel grow, and it lets more people see the content so more people can get interactive with the game and the community and things like that. Anyways, peace out guys, I'll see you in the next one.